Hi there. This brief vodcast will introduce you to foreign investment in Australia. The first thing to do is get a handle on what foreign investment is. According to the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, DFAT for short, foreign investment occurs when an individual, business or an investment vehicle, such as a superannuation or pension fund from outside Australia, decides to establish a new business in Australia or purchases property or shares in an Australian-owned business. So what we have is international capital chasing across the globe for profits and finding a well-regulated, low-risk, productive economy in Australia in which to invest. Australian investors also invest heavily in other countries. In fact, about $2.5 trillion worth of Australian capital is invested abroad each year in 2018. Let's take a look at who is investing in Australia. The level of foreign investment in Australia is around $3.5 trillion per year. Here are the top 5 countries that investors are based in. The US, with a whopping $940 billion, is well and truly in the number 1 spot. In fact, the US has been the major source of foreign investment in Australia since the 1960s. Next on the list is the UK with $575 billion. The Brits have been investing in Australia ever since the arrival of the First Fleet. They were the biggest investors for more than a century until the US stepped up during the Cold War. The third largest investors are, surprisingly, from Belgium, a substantial $317 billion. With a tiny land mass and a heavily concentrated population, it makes sense that they would invest in the resources and agriculture sectors. The same goes for Japan and Hong Kong, the 4th and 5th largest source countries of foreign investors, with $229 billion and $119 billion respectively. Some of you might be surprised that China is absent from this list, given the negative reporting on China buying up farms, mines and Sydney real estate. In fact, Chinese investment was just $64 billion in 2018, number 9 on the list and down from the previous years. Those of us who have been around for a while will remember similar alarm bells about Japanese investment in the Gold Coast real estate in the 80s. This points towards the possibility that it is the historic fears of Asia that are most likely the source of concern, notwithstanding a legitimate aversion to foreign ownership of the most productive sectors of the Australian economy. So which sectors are foreign investors finding value in? As you can see from this chart, the mining sector is by far the biggest attractor of foreign direct investment, or FDI. FDI is when overseas interests have a controlling ownership in Australian businesses. By far the biggest attractor of foreign investment is the mining sector, then manufacturing, finance, real estate and retail. This chart doesn't include the agricultural sector, which is also a major destination for foreign investment. Around 17.5% of the Australian agricultural sector is foreign owned, mostly big agribusinesses rather than the family farm. The US is by far the largest agricultural landholder, followed by Japan, New Zealand, the UK and the Netherlands. We see that Australia welcomes foreign investment. It has been an integral element in the development of Australia ever since colonial times. Generally, the Australian government encourages investment from overseas and has in place a number of policies to do this, considering there are many benefits to the Australian economy. Often free trade agreements with our largest trading partners will have freeing up the constraints to foreign investment as their most important aim. The government does, however, reserve the right to ensure foreign investment proposals are consistent with Australia's national interest. It considers large-scale foreign investment proposals on a case-by-case basis through the Foreign Investment Review Board. They can be accepted or knocked back depending on who is considered friend or foe. So you should now have the basics of foreign investment in Australia down pat. I'm Diane Colman. Thanks for watching.